Hello, card friends. I'm Chaz,
And I'm Alexi.
and this is Rainbow Reverse. Today, we're going to talk about the second episode of Cardfight Vanguard Overdress. Give our thoughts, opinions, and whatever else comes to mind. You're the one here with the agenda. Why don't you start us off?
My gay agenda.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's interesting that this episode starts the exact same way as the first episode. And it's with you making everybody breakfast. What does it mean?
What? Yeah, what does you being good at cooking mean? What's the deeper meaning behind Yu's exquisite cuisine?
You know what? I think there is some meaning behind it because he's unable to say no to his sisters and his mom, so maybe he has trouble with being subservient or something along those lines.
I feel like the cooking has a lot to just do with Yu having all this potential underneath the shy, timid exterior. It's like Yu has these talents and abilities, but may go unnoticed by people just because of him being so shy.
That's true. I feel like there's gonna be an episode where Yu cooks for all his friends, and they're like, "I didn't know you could cook."
And he'll be like, I mean, Yu literally did the finger push, I think, at one point in the episode. So
I did like seeing the posters on the card shop, like the Gavril and Exculpate. I thought that was a cute little touch.
Now that is something that has, I think, always been in Vanguard. If you look in the background of the shops, you see the posters with the units on them. I also think that the random shop owner that Yu sees real quick is Josuke from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as an adult. You know, he had the same hair. He had like the purplish pompadour, you know.
I did love Donji in this episode. I mean, I think everyone loves Donji. He was just a perfect himbo. He was carrying kids around, and it was perfect.
I like him getting emotional, ordaining the wedding. It's funny that he calls himself a gig worker, except for the fact that, like, he does really skilled things for a gig worker. He's ordained. Yeah. He has certification in childcare.
He has to be certified in, like, CPR.
And he knows landscaping on top of all that. This guy, and a 20-match undefeated streak in Cardfight Vanguard. He truly does it all. Donji sees Yu and is like, "You've been following me. Do you have like a you know what I mean?" Yu's like, "Ooh,
you've fallen for me, haven't you?"
And he's like, "Well, I mean, like, I'm like a boy, so like that would be like weird, right?"
Here's the thing about that. I think this is gonna be like a character development type thing, because when people suggest Donji and Yu are together, Yu's like, "I'm a boy," as though two boys can't be together. And I think that's gonna be like a big realization later, like two boys can be together.
I mean, because no one else seems to question it when it comes up. Yu's the only one who's like, "But I'm a boy." I mean, like, I'm a boy. Like, boys can't like be in love with each other, right? Right. That's what
it's gonna be a growth thing, because Yu hasn't had exposure to like gay relationships.
There will definitely be solid exploration of gender and sexuality. I think both of these first two episodes have set us up to that. You know, so far it's mostly been on like the lighthearted laughter side of things, but I really do think as we get deeper, maybe not as much in the first season that we're getting, but I think in the second season we'll probably go a lot further into that. Part of me also thinks the Yu in the dress thing will come back, because they released that one crossover promo art and Yu is in the dress in that, and I'm like, if it's just a thing that happens in the first episode, why would they make promo art around it? Like, this will definitely be more of a thing, I think, whether it's of Yu's own accord or there's more stuff, but there's definitely self-discovery to be had along the way. Now, Megumi sees Donji and Yu, and throughout the episode, we get these like Megumi distorting reality shots where it gets like the pink background. There's like, it looks like Yu and Danji are gonna kiss, and then when Danji's like tickling Yu and it's all like, stop it.
More than once. They did that more than once.
Look, I think that it's very cute and adorable.
Yeah, they were flirting.
Yeah, and I still am in full belief of Team Blackout Polycule.
Yeah.
There is no singular ship in this show. It is, it's a big happy family. As I said last time, this is a big happy family. And they're all gonna love each other and be great until presumably someone betrays them or tries to break the family apart. Not gonna name any characters in particular who are suspicious, but
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking Zakusa is gonna betray them because Zakusa is playing the Link Joker type cards.
I'm not saying Zakusa is definitely gonna betray them and be evil, but I'm saying it is a possibility that we should be prepared for. Look, I have enjoyed his character so far.
I think he's
Zakusa
brilliant.
Has been great. The painting thing. While that scene may have been like a little heavy-handed in my opinion, with like the lines like, "You're painting with the light strokes today." He's like, "But my heart is heavy."
He's a dramatic bitch, and I love him.
Yeah, but speaking of dramatic bitches, can we talk about Tamari? And how Tamari is somewhere between a Gurren Lagann and a Steven Universe character. And I love her. In the first episode, I was like, oh, she's kind of cute. She's kind of fun. But like this episode, with her being more present, I guess, and goofy, and she's kind of silly. And especially when she's like the announcer and they've got her like doing all these different positions and poses and playing this big character up. I really like that part about her. I love just how everyone in the crew is so dramatic. Obviously, Megumi's dramatic with her whole, like, "Oh, I think you're in love and no one's paying attention to me," kind of thing. And, Tamari's, like, this big, like, announcer character, and Zakusa has his metaphors and his painting. Like, everyone is so dramatic. Like, how, again, this is just a collection of gay people in love, because where else do you get all of this kind of energy? I think Cardfight Vanguard is so brave.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope they're being brave. You better listen to me, Bushi. Akira Ito, I'm calling you out. This better be brave.
Speaking of Megumi, I'm a little worried about Megumi because I'm worried that they're gonna reduce her to a crazy jealous girl, kind of like they did with Asuka. Because they really set Asuka up with a bunch of potential to be this great, powerful, strong card fighter. And we all know how Asuka really is.
Now, I disagree. I don't think it's going in that direction. I, for one, think Megumi is clearly poised as the secondary main character, both with the outro sequence, the first 2 episodes being framed around her and Yuyu's parallel kind of storylines, and then even the Zero promotion, how the first 2 characters in Zero we get are Megumi and Yuyu. So I don't think she's going to be some one-dimensional jealous character. I think that's just something happening in this episode.
I know, I'm hopeful, but I think it's a valid concern.
I also don't think it's purely just her being jealous about Danji. It's also that in the first episode, she thinks Yuyu's gonna be her special friend that she brings to the group, and that she gets to spend all this time with and relate to and all that. And then now she sees Yuyu hanging out with someone else in the group, and that person introducing. I don't think it's just like a I'm jealous, I'm in love with Danji kind of thing. I think it's like I feel excluded. Okay. I thought this was my special thing. On both ends. Like, and I just think, I think she has big FOMO.
Yeah.
Megumi has big fear of missing out, clearly. And she takes herself very seriously, obviously, like from what we see in the first episode. So I think that she felt like she had some sort of maybe power dynamic pre meeting Yu within the group in relation to Donji, and then meeting Yu and being Yu's kind of guide in the first episode, to now seeing both of them not be with her has kind of like made her super jealous in that regard. Not necessarily in like the I'm the jealous anime girl regard, more just like she is a person who values her different kinds of relationships very highly, and she feels maybe excluded. She could be a little hyperbolic, you know, maybe a little jumping to the worst conclusions a little bit, but I don't think that makes her one-dimensional or anything.
I know. And I'm sure they're gonna do fine with Megumi. It just made me a little worried that the whole episode she was like, oh my god, they're in love. Oh no, you know.
I feel like we're past that already. I feel like the way the episode ended, we're past that arc. I also, again, this series is going to be a lot shorter than every other Vanguard series up to this point, so I don't think they're going to drag too many things out. We see that a bit in the card fights, which are a little more expedited than they used to be. I think with this episode, we got less of the animated fight action, but I think that's also in part because of Yu starting to understand the game, because we got the hint of it at the end of the fight when Yu overdressed into Verena. Megumi sees the flame come off of his hand, and when he does the attack, there's like the big fire that engulfs the screen as the match ends. So I think we didn't get like the big action sequence this episode. It's Yu's kind of tutorial fight, learning how to play the game.
I will say, if you're just starting off and you're trying to learn the game, how they're doing it in the show isn't the best way to learn. I
also think that's, again, with the general feeling that people have of they want this to be more than just a TCG anime.
Yeah.
They want it to be like a show that's just a more general anime, but the main source of the action is the cards instead of like shonen fight sequences. Though, again, trying to use the cards to put in those shonen type fight sequences. So I have a feeling if it stays at this rate, they probably won't have those extremely in-depth move-to-move kinds of fights, except for maybe big climactic fights. Definitely like a final boss type fight. I could certainly see them having that be in full detail, just because that is the drama. But I think until we get to the high drama of the fight having real stakes, I don't think we're gonna get super detailed fights.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I personally am not like, I need the fight to have every moment in the game portrayed accurately. I think the show's just not going to be long enough to get that, for one. And two, I think it can live without it. As long as the cards play an important role, I don't think they have to do a literal fight every episode for people to care or be interested. As long as the story is compelling and the conflict keeps me wanting more, then I'll be okay. If Tamari is commentating the fights, then I'm sure I will be entertained to some degree.
Something I did actually just realize is that they haven't mentioned the planet Cray at all.
I thought about that.
Yeah, they haven't been like, imagine yourself on the planet Cray. It hasn't come up at all, and I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought about that. We watched the episode twice. On the second time through, I thought, there hasn't been an imagine it, you're standing on planet Cray kind of thing like they do in all the other series. I don't think that means it's gone or it's absent, though. I think as Yu's going to learn more about the game, we'll then get more of what the lore, because there has been this very big emphasis on lore to us, the player base, about everything on planet Cray, so it will have to tie in. I suspect it will take the form of Trickstar and Yu having actual communication, and Trickstar will be like, oh, I'm from planet Cray, where all the units are from, and Yu will be like, planet Cray, what's that? You know, I think we're going in maybe that kind of direction, or maybe in the next episode someone will be like, well, do you know where the units come from? Will they come from
Yeah.
Planet Earth? I'm sure it'll happen.
Also, did you notice that Zakusa and Tamari also ship Donji and Yu? At the end, when they were like, I'm okay with this.
I think that was kind of a part of the first episode a little bit too.
Yeah.
I think like again, I don't even think it's just everyone is like, oh, we ship Donji and Yu. I think it's like, oh, we ship Yu being a part of our polycule.
I mean, yeah.
Also, again, the sequence where they were doing the initiation was so funny to me because they were building up like, we're gonna do the big initiation. Everyone's like, whoa, the initiation, and they just literally like, here's all of our commons that we keep in our storage boxes. Like, no one even brought the binder out to be like, here, you'll need this triple R. Here's some commons and rares, build your deck. It's gonna suck, but you know, you'll at least be able to play the game.
I mean, it beat Megumi.
It did. I think there may have been some non-starter deck units on the field, but for the most part, it looked like mostly starter deck stuff anyway. So they were fighting with the low power. You know, we haven't gotten the big, exciting reveals yet.
Do you want to talk about the mysterious figure at the end of the episode?
Yeah, they are leading us, you know, a little bit into the murky waters, introducing a little bit of the villainy that I'm sure is to come.
Murky waters? You mean like a Grand Blue type archetype?
Now,
like kind of like Zorga, kind of like that?
I don't think the person who we saw was the Zorga guy, whose name I don't know. I don't know if they've said his name in the show yet. He was very briefly in the first episode, kind of as the manager for Toya. I was wondering if maybe that character was Toya and they just had a shadow to make his hair not look blonde. But
I thought about that.
But again, I'm not too sure. I'm not like analyzing the way the bangs go enough to, you know, I'm sure someone else will get on that. So I thought it could maybe be Toya, or it could be someone related to the Zorga guy. I don't really know. I don't think we've gotten enough yet to really formulate what the villainy of the season is yet.
I mean, it's a goofy anime. He could be wearing a wig.
Yes, he could also be wearing a wig. But again, I have no idea. He literally didn't even say a line. He just gave like a little like laugh to himself.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see, like, are we gonna go level of villainy like, oh, we're gonna shut down the amusement park, and like, oh no, we have to save the amusement park? Are we gonna level of villainy where it's like, I'm going to destroy the world and you have to beat me? Like, I'm curious on how the scale
I'm
is
sure
gonna go.
like early on it won't be super serious. He could be just like, you know, a dude that they hype up to be a villain and he ends up, you know, not being super important.
Yeah, maybe it could just be a jerk
They've done that.
that like
before.
you shows up and is like, I'm gonna bully you, and then you just
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna beat you in a card fight. Maybe, yeah, just like as a preliminary villain before they get to like the real.
I'm just saying they could go a bunch of different routes.
I'm
with
sure
this.
eventually, if not within the first 2 seasons, that Yu will have to save the world. I'm sure it will happen at some point. Maybe not right away, but oh, believe me, if it's Vanguard, like, someone's gonna have to save the world with the card game at some point.
Working with Trickstar, using the power of friendship.
Oh, definitely the power of friendship. Oh, the cutest part of the episode was at the end when Donji casually says something about friends, like when they're all kind of gathering around, and Yu's like, my friends, you know, or whatever. And I was like, aw, Yu doesn't have friends, but now he does, and that's great.
I love that.
Look, power of friendship. They beat the bad guys with the power of friendship. Splendid. Like, that's all. That's what I want to see. I don't need my expectations subverted. I'm watching Cardfight Vanguard to watch the power of friendship and homosexual tension defeat the bad guys.
I will say I was really feeling the power of friendship stuff because it reminded me, like, with the ceremony and everyone offering you like some of their cards. It reminded me of like my experience at the card shop. You know, people offering to help me with my deck. You know, one of our friends bought me Claret Sword Dragon when I was trying to build a Claret deck, and it just made me think wow, I loved this community and how we all just want each other to be fighting at our best.
Yeah, I definitely did have a little bit of like, oh, it's kind of like when we started playing. People were being nice to us and showing us how to play and giving us cards and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm glad that that's reflected in the show a little bit. And hopefully, you know, to the newer players out there, maybe they can have a similar experience of finding some people, you know, in their local gaming community, and they can help them learn how to play and maybe give them some cards that they don't need so they can help build up a deck or whatever. Something wholesome like that.
I think they are hinting that Yu will be gender fluid in some sense, and that's what I'm hoping for. Anyway, something, you know, nice and wholesome and, you know, some self-discovery.
Like I said earlier, I think there will be some delving into gender and sexuality. I don't know exactly how much and how important it'll be to the plot. I would like it to be important, and I would like it to be handled well and be nice. And I think we're getting stuff. I think they're trying to work us into it a little bit. So I hope that that does something nice in the long run. I think it'll be cool. Well, that about wraps up all of our thoughts for now. Thank you for watching. We're Rainbow Reverse, wishing you all the best.
Bye.
Bye.